Where politics meets common sense. This is Nightcaps with Nate.
Coming to you live from just outside the swamp of the nation's capital. Get ready for invigorating talk, commentary, and debate on the issues affecting your life. Grab your favorite drink. It's Nightcaps with Nate. Now, here's Nate.
Hey, welcome to a special edition of Nightcaps with Nate. I am Nate, and in a little bit after my monologue, you will be seeing Whitley, my beautiful wife, and she will be on with me to discuss the current events. But it's kind of something special that I want to do for us conservatives out there, because for us that are on the right, we will a lot of times experience all throughout the presidency, but especially in election year, a lot of media bias. Not towards us personally, but towards the people that we like. In fact, it's meant to do that on purpose. It's meant to make us feel like, man, we'll never win. It gasses us out. We get worn out. We don't want to. We tend not to want to get out and vote, and that's what they're hoping for. That's why a lot of times you'll see polling and stuff that shows like very negative for whoever the candidate is. And I'm talking way back in Reagan, Clinton, Bush. Of course, Clinton beat Bush, so that polling was correct. But anybody could see that Bush wasn't trying. And then all through with Clinton, Dole, and Bush versus Gore, and then Bush versus Kerry, and then Obama versus McCain, and all the way up to Trump and this election now. And what you're going to see is continuous media bias. And that's why I want you to be careful about where you get your media, because you could go to what's called confirmation bias and get all your media on one side that you believe in. Well, that doesn't really help you, because you want to see what the other side is thinking too, and you want the truth. Or you could go all the way to the left, which is most of the media, and they will be punking out your people. And so you're like, man, who do I go to? And it used to be back in the day that all you had was ABC, CBS, and NBC. And then you had like the big newspapers, Washington Post, New York Times, and your daily newspaper around your home. But now we have a lot of alternatives. And I like this website. I'm going to show it to you real quick, and then we're going to get back to it in a second. And it's called allsides.com. And allsides.com actually did a bunch of studies. It was started by a conservative that used to work for Mitch McConnell and a liberal that used to work for George Soros and MoveOn.org. And what they said is, hey, man, there's a lot of media. Oh, by the way, thanks for joining us, Amber Katie Morales. If you want to comment as I am doing this and throughout the rest of the show, be sure to go over to Nightcaps with Nate, the actual page. I will be looking and reviewing comments there. Also, make sure that you like and follow us, and then go to YouTube a little bit later and make sure that you subscribe. We've just had monumental growth, and it's because of fans like you that we are doing so well. We average sometimes 3,000 viewers in one night, which is a lot considering that we've only been doing this for a few weeks. So thank you to the fans, the viewers. This is a growing show. It's something that I love to do, and hopefully you guys will continue to support us. So make sure you go over there. I will read your comments as we go. So anyways, allsides.com was the top online news media bias ranking. There are other ones out there, but they're very subjective. This one was actually done by actual scientists and using science and some subjective measures, but like polling data and all that. But what they found is that if you look on this slide, ABC, CBS, CNN, NPR, Politico, Time, Washington Post, they're actually all left to center. Now remember, this is built by a liberal as well. So this isn't just some right-wing hack saying, oh, I just don't agree with you because it's biased media. And then on the right, we have Fox News. Now these are just right of center, okay? So you see on the far left, you have the far left and the far right. So if you're trying to get centrist news, as centrist as possible, and I still think it leans a little bit left, you're really stuck with Associated Press, BBC, which is from England, Bloomberg, which I think has gotten more and more leftist ever since Bloomberg ran for president. And this was done in 2019. So The Hill, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, online news only. That's your options. Now, if you ask yourself, with Fox News on the right and taking out the people on the center, but all the purported unbiased news, ABC, CBS, NBC, where they get millions more viewers because they're network TV and they're on the airwaves. How in the heck can a Republican like Trump ever get fair treatment in the press when one cable channel, which has about 2 or 3 million viewers, is the number one cable channel, yes, but they're taking on all the cable channels, CNN, MSNBC, and all the networks, ABC, CBS, NPR and the radio, Politico, Time. I mean, we're in trouble. And that's why I need you to really, really filter out what you see. It is never as bad as you think it is. In fact, all the way up until 1 week before election, I've been studying this since I was a kid. I've been a political junkie ever since I was a kid. And it always comes down to the last week before the election. That's when the polls start to tighten up, because that's when that is when the pollsters are going to get judged. Okay? The two other cable channels, CNN, MSNBC, the printed press, New York Times, Washington Post, Politico, Time, etc., all lean left or far left. There's no way that you're ever going to get it. And they might even go in there and say, hey, you know what? I think, I'm going to go in as an honest journalist and I'm never going to be biased. Well, if 12-1 journalists are donating money to the left, inherently they're going to want to pump up their own candidate. They're not even going to mean to. Supposedly AP, Reuters, NPR, News Division only, and USA Today are neutral, and in my opinion, they do lean slightly left themselves, but at least you'll get a fair shake. I will admit that my news sources that I use in the morning when I first wake up is, I'll tell, and I'm not going to say her name because then she'll go off in the background here, but my little smart speaker, I will tell her to play the NPR news headlines, and that's what I go by. The NPR hard news tends to be just barely left to center, but they're about as neutral as you're going to get. So if you're going to get it, get NPR News in the morning. Now, all the NPR opinion shows throughout the day, like A1 and All Things Considered and all that, tend to be very leftist. So just be careful of that. Or you could just tune in every weeknight here to Nightcaps and Nate, and I'll give you all the news that you need to know. Of course, I am a little right of center. I do try to bring on some liberals, but I am. Now, don't just take my word for it. Don't just say, hey, you know what, Nate, you're right. I just trust you, and if you say they're biased, they're biased. No. Let's take a Harvard University. Now, we know Harvard University is no friend of any conservatives. No major university is. They're very leftist. But a Harvard University analysis of Trump press coverage during his honeymoon. Now, what's the honeymoon? The honeymoon in every presidency is 100 days where they're setting their agenda, and the press pretty much just does not fight them. They will just report facts. They typically are nice to both Republicans and Democrats, more to Democrats, of course. But let's see how they treated Trump during his first 100 days. During the first 100 days, on all these topics, the best topic he got was the economy, which was booming. Remember, when he just won election in November, before he even took over the presidency, all the pundits said, the stock markets are going to tank, and they didn't. They shot up thousands and thousands and thousands. And still, he could only muster out 46% positive news stories for the economy. 54% of news stories are bad. Look at all that sea of red. This is his honeymoon phase. This is the phase where he was supposed to be getting the most glowing coverage, and the press was that rude to him, okay? Now, the press has a right to be rude. We have a free press in this country. What I'm saying, though, is don't believe it all, okay? Let's look more at this Harvard University analysis of press coverage during his honeymoon and compare it to other presidents. Now remember, this is the honeymoon. This is where he's supposed to be getting the most glowing press. He got 80-20 negative press. 80% of the press was negative against him. And I can guarantee you a good portion of that 20% positive press was from the Fox News channel. Now let's compare that with Obama. Obama got 59% great press. Even George W. Bush, who the media hates because he's a Republican, got 43%. And the only reason why Clinton got, during his honeymoon, 40% positive to 60 was because he was stuck in a major sexual scandal. He had the Paula Jones. He had the sex scandals of rape, the Troopergate. I mean, that guy had more scandals coming in than any other modern president. Still, they covered for him 40% of the time and gave him positive press. All right, so let's look at the tone of coverage for Trump just based on media outlets. I used to like CNN. CNN to me used to be the middle guy. You had Fox News on the right, which I do like. You had MSNBC on the left. And then you had CNN, and they kind of played the middle road. And then this guy named Jeff Zucker took over, and he hates Trump. He has a personal vendetta against Trump. And so CNN, who used to be the kind of the middle of the road, was actually the worst. CNN and NBC has given Trump 93% negative press coverage versus 7% positive. CBS is a little bit better with 91-9. New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, even Fox News gave the most positive press coverage, but you would be surprised because the leftist media say, oh, Fox is a talking arm of President Trump. Even they still have given him 52% negative press. Okay? But at least they're fair. At least they're kind of fair. 52-48, that's almost 50-50. But look at these others. I mean, 93% negative news? Dude, how has he even survived? That's worse than the BBC and Financial Times, which are European news outlets. And they hate any Republican because they think we're crazy. Bottom line is this, man. No president could really survive this except for Donald Trump. And that's why when I get mad sometimes, and I get mad because he overdoes a little bit with the tweets, but that's why you see him. That is why you see him trying to tweet out his own news cycle. Because he actually takes on this press. And it's very important that he does. Okay? Yeah, David, not cool. Don't use that word. Amber, I fall in the middle. Samantha, yo, what's up? Thanks for joining us, by the way. All right, so let's go over the tone of Clinton's news coverage and compare that to Trump's news coverage. Now, remember, this is the Hillary Clinton. This is based on the last election. And she was going through some major scandals. Remember Emailgate? Where she actually literally obstructed justice. We talk about Trump obstructed justice. She went out with a hammer and actually beat had her staff go and actually literally physically destroy her servers. Okay, that's obstruction of justice. Even then, from the full period, she only got 56% negative news coverage. She got 44% positive news coverage. Donald Trump, he got 25% positive and 75% negative. Look at the last week before the elections. Last 2 weeks before the elections. He got 91% negative while she got 52% positive. And he still beat her. Maybe not in the popular vote, but he still beat her in the thing. Now, this is why when I get mad at Trump, you guys should be the first to say, hey, Nate, remember your media bias thing. I would be defensive all the time if I was Trump too, because no matter what, he's not going to get a fair shake. The good news is he's got good people like this new McEnany, Kaylee, whatever her name is, the new press secretary. She's great. Don Jr. is a master communicator. Amber says, watching him talk, you see him so upset with how they treat him. Yeah, I mean, the guy can never get a fair shake. No matter what, he could come out. Oh, by the way, again, this is Harvard University, 2016 election news coverage survey. All right? This is not a friend of the press. This is not some right-wing think tank. This is Harvard University School of Journalism. But yet, the press will sit there and go out and find up something that says, oh, we're fair. We're fair. And I don't know if they really believe it or not, but they are not fair. If they were fair, Republicans would probably win 10 to 20% more elections than what they do. And the reason why is because the country itself is actually kind of a conservative country. That's why you're seeing all this hubbub about our liberties being taken away. We are inherently a Protestant, not religious Protestant, but we are that too. But we are a protesting country. We have a distrust of government, and the Democrat Party is the party of big government. If the press were fair, some political scientists say that Democrats have a built-in 10-point advantage on election day because of media bias. 10 points. So think of all the elections that were close and how many of them got decided within 10 points. And that's exactly how many Republicans would probably win because we are inherently a conservative country. All right, let's continue on with this. Let's see how the vice, they say, oh, well, but Trump is just such a polarizing figure. Well, the least polarizing Republican I know of is a guy named Mike Pence and Tim Kaine. Both non-polarizing, right? Well, let's see how they did. They did a little bit better. Mike Pence, for the full period, did get 61% positive coverage versus 40%, which is pretty close to the 66. But look what they did the last week before the election. They gave Tim Kaine positive press all the way through the election, including that pivotal last week when undecided voters are finally deciding. But yet, 76% of Mike Pence's was negative. Mike Pence doesn't even hardly talk. How could they find 76% negative news coverage for him? And again, this comes from Harvard University. This is not some crazy right-wing conspiracy. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about. So in the last week of the election, what did we learn here? The polls tighten up, yes, because pollsters are getting judged. But the media, they get more and more entrenched because their candidate is getting closer in the polls. And the last thing the media ever wants to see is a Republican win. Even if they are great, honest journalists and they think themselves as totally unbiased, there's still something inherently inside them that says, oh my God, the world's going to end if Trump wins. And that's why even Pence got 76% negative reporting, 53% negative 2 weeks prior to the election. Whereas Tim Kaine got 65% positive 2 weeks before election and nearly 60% positive coverage the week of the election. So, for all my friends out there that are Democrats and you try to fight me on this, hey, I invite you to go ahead and bring up your own slides. Let's look at what the opinion polling says. Okay? Here's where the average audience placement of each news outlet based on party and ideology. So, the U.S. average adult is right here. You have right at the closest to fair to the U.S. average adult is New York Post. You see me use them a lot, and people say, oh, they're conservative. No, they're just not as liberally biased. They're not conservative. They're actually middle of the road. Here's Fox News, Washington Examiner, Daily Caller, Rush Limbaugh all the way over here, right? Look at all the media outlets to the left of the average daily adult. Remember when I said that this country is actually somewhat a right-of-center country? That's where we are right here. Look at all these news outlets to the left of the country. And what they're doing with all their mass media is they're slowly tugging the country leftwards. That's why we now have socialism as a mainstay in our American politics. 10 years ago, nobody would have ever admitted to being a socialist. 15 years ago, nobody. Nobody would have ever thought that a major president like President Obama would mandate that bathrooms be mixed between males and females just 20 years ago. That is how much. Now, I'm a libertarian, so a lot of that stuff doesn't bother me. But I'm just saying, this is how much the press has pulled us to the left. That is why the modern Democrat Party is so far to the left. Because the press, who props it up, is that far to the left. All right? So, they say, well, that's Trump, man. Trump, he's just an a-hole. So that's why the press is so mean. Well, let's look at the 2012 election. Remember, who is the press's favorite Republican nowadays? And who was it before? First, it was McCain until he ran in 2008. And then it was Romney until he ran in 2012. And now Romney's back in their good graces because Romney's a big pain in the ass to Trump. Right? Well, guess what? In 2012 election, you would think Romney would have gotten the fairest shake. I mean, he's the most middle-of-the-road rhino I've ever met. A rhino is a Republican name only. Look at the tone of coverage. Obama got 29% positive to 19% negative, and the rest was what they would consider neutral. Look at the flip. Romney got 16% positive to 33% negative. This is Mitt Romney. This is the Romney that the media just fawns over every time he's going against Trump. He's a never Trumper, right? But when you're running against a Democrat, the media's true colors will show every single time. Every single time. Okay? Let's look at some previous elections. Pew Research Poll. Pew is a very, very middle of the road, actually slightly left of center research polling, of registered voters every presidential election. And they asked them, hey, who do you think, in every election cycle they've asked, who do you think the media favors? How many times do you think they ever said, oh, the media favors the Republican candidate? Never. Look at this. Look at sea of purple versus red. Okay? Even in 92, Clinton, who was coming in as a sex offender pretty much, you talk about Me Too's wet dream, that would have been it. Got 52%, the 52% of the public said that the media favored them versus 17%. The best the media has ever done was George W. Bush in 2000, and still only 23% of the country, this includes independents, this includes Democrats, thought that the Republican got a fair shake. All right? The public knows it. Everybody knows it. In fact, that's why there was an article out that says, hey, why is it that nothing sticks to Joe Biden or Donald Trump anymore? Because the public's trust of the American press is so low that no scandal is going to hurt either of them anymore, because guess what? They think, oh, they're just a gotcha press. All right? Think about the election so far. If the Tara Reade story was on Trump, do you think that Trump would be getting such an easy softball questions and all these people coming out and, you know, the niceties? Of course not. Trump says some stupid stuff, but if he came out all demented like Joe Biden, they'd be calling for him to get his head checked. And we're going to see some more of Joe Biden today, some video of him, and, you know, he's just not even qualified to run. And not because he's a bad guy. I mean, I don't like his policies. He's a little creepy around girls, so he is kind of a bad guy. But he's just not mentally there. The guy has no clue where he is anymore. So, then there's the newest thing. So we would think, okay, well, the internet's and it has evened it out a little bit because we have Breitbart, we have again New York Post available to everybody, the Daily Mail, which is kind of a British tabloid, but pretty good. You'd think that it would help, right? Well, if you're just doing a quick search of news and you go to, let's say, news.yahoo or news.google, guess what's happening? The Google effect. Americans must be very wary of institutions, big tech, that seek to control what we see and hear. YouTube, which is owned by Google, routinely demonetizes, restricts, and censors conservative content. One target of YouTube was Dennis Prager's PragerU, which is an awesome channel, by the way. You should check it out. It's a very, very highly intellectual channel, which had 40 of its videos restricted. Prager sued the social media video giant this year following these unfounded restrictions. YouTube has also been known for banning pro-life videos. WikiLeaks emails revealed that Schmidt worked directly with the Clinton campaign in 2016 and was instrumental in forming a group called The Groundwork, an online startup company created to help Clinton win the election. He was also seen wearing a staff badge. Oh, by the way, this is a Google major player. While President Barack Obama was in office, Google kept a cozy relationship with the White House. Google representatives attended White House meetings more than once a week during the first 7 years of Obama's presidency, and almost 250 individuals left government service to go work for Google, or vice versa while Obama was in office. Do you think that maybe Google is in bed with the Democrat Party too? And when you have so few people in the tech world controlling all the mass media because the internet is everything, what do you think that's going to do? Here's a little USA Today headline. Trump is right. More than Facebook and Twitter, Google threatens democracy and online freedom. Google, who owns YouTube, by the way, and other tech giants filter, suppress, and even directly attack asserters. This must be stopped to protect our free and open society. Our marketplace, which is where the free speech came from, was that we'd go to the marketplace and from the beginning of time, while you're selling and trading, you talk politics. That's why they call it in the public square. It was a square and people would talk politics, campaigns would happen. The internet is our new public square. And to me, I'm wary of the federal government getting in control, but they need to realize that we cannot have 3 or 4 individuals in big tech more powerful than our elected representatives and leaders in Congress and the President of the United States. Just can't happen. Then you talk about corporate takeover, you talk about corporate welfare, you talk about campaign finance. They don't even need They don't even have to donate campaign. They just give free airtime to the candidate of their choice who will do their bidding. So what's my advice here? What is my advice? My advice is, again, choose the middle and be selective. I personally like NPR headlines for radio news. Their opinion shows are very biased, though. Online, I love allsides.com. Allsides.com looks like this. They actually present all the news from the left to center by headline and all the news from the left, center, and right. And they're very transparent. All their founders and their team have a bias rating. I know it's probably pretty hard to see on here, but they have an actual bias rating where they're actually rating themselves. And they have everything from the far right to the left to the center. Very good, very reputable news site. It's called allsides.com. I'm not getting paid by them. I don't know them, but I found them a long time ago. If not, get your news right here. The NPR News online only, The Hill, USA Today, Wall Street Journal. They're going to give you the fairest shake. I personally like these two, the New York Post, Washington Examiner. And sometimes I'll even go over here and look at Politico and Time and see what they're saying. But it is just so anti-Trump, it's nauseating. So, what are we going to do about it? 2/3 of Americans want to break up companies like Amazon and Google. And I'm sure that most of my viewers would probably agree. Google and Amazon need to be broken up. We need to break up Facebook. Okay? It used to be that there was competition out there. Remember this thing called MySpace? You had MySpace, you had Facebook, it was very segmented. But now Facebook, Twitter are the bigger ones. Google and Amazon, all owned by liberals. In fact, Amazon now owns the Washington Post, which is one of our, what we call the paper of records for our country, Washington Post and New York Times. So that is why 2/3 of Americans would like companies like Amazon and Google broken up. We have antitrust laws. And out of just pure coincidence today, this headline hit. Wall Street Journal. The Department of Justice and state attorneys general is likely to hit Google with antitrust lawsuits. And guess who might be getting broken up? And it's their own doing, their own fault. If they had proven themselves to be the independent arbiters of truth and didn't censor, unless, and I'm not talking about, they could put whatever caption they wanted on any story. Hey, this is a known, white or black or brown supremacy group or a hate group or all that. Then they could have still posted all those things. Because we live in a free country, but when they even went over to China and started censoring the internet, they should have said no. Other countries should not be able to censor American companies or force American companies to do censorship. That violates the whole premise of the United States. But then when they do it here in America, no, that's a no-go in my opinion. According to a report from the Wall Street Journal, officials at the Justice Department and a group of states attorney generals attorneys general are focused on Google's ad business and how it is used, how it has used its search monopoly. And there's more into the story about how they've censored. The writing was on the wall last summer when they had all the tech companies. And by the way, Google didn't even show up. That's how powerful they are. When Congress subpoenaed them, they didn't even show up. Okay? They're not like the President of the United States where they're a co-equal branch of government. And so they have executive privilege. They just are just so big. It's like, hey, what are you going to do? All right, so that basically takes me on my rant. What I'm trying to say is do not be discouraged, my friends. Do not. The silent majority is alive and well in this country. Just think about it. Trump had 0% chance of winning this last election. 0. Now he's an incumbent. He has a war chest like no other. He's got a huge campaign haul. He's running up against a very weak candidate who is still yet to be vetted because of coronavirus. But eventually the media is going to be forced to do their job. Times are good. Times are good. If Trump can hone his message, run all his tweets just through Don Jr., then we're going to win this thing. Don't be suppressed. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to ruin your thing. And now I am going to bring on my beautiful wife to discuss the rest of the news. And I bet you guys will probably be much more happier seeing her than me. Whitley, are you off mute?
I am.
How was it? Was it a long diatribe? I think I went on for, oh my God, I went on for like 20-something minutes. Sorry, folks.
Hi, guys.
We got quite a few people online who will probably be much more happy to see you. So, you got your Bacardi and Diet Coke?
I do in my special glass. My friend Allison bought me.
Yeah, Allie got you that. Thanks, Allie. You didn't get me one. I like it because it's like my big glass here, only it has a handle on it. I think that's a lot better, but all right, so
Friday.
It is Friday, TGIF.
Yeah, but I have to work all weekend long.
I know. Amber said that she liked MySpace way better than Facebook. I liked MySpace too because you could manipulate it and you had your own music and all that stuff. The problem with MySpace was that it was very glitchy.
Yeah, I liked MySpace, but I don't know. It was a transition when I went from MySpace to Facebook, but
Facebook was just a much more cleaner interface, and then it went even cleaner with Instagram, and Instagram is now owned by Facebook. That's how big these tech companies are, by the way. Google owns YouTube, Instagram, WhatsApp is owned by Facebook, Twitter, they're just a bunch of pieces of crap. So I can't stand them. Jack Dorsey, he's a super liberal. Hey, by the way, just came in over my watch. The House Democrats have passed a $3 trillion coronavirus relief package. Guess what, guys? Guess what? It's never going to pass.
More stimulus, more taxes.
Well, I don't mind the stimulus. If you want to throw money, anytime they give money back to the American people, I'm down with that, man. That's a tax cut.
Yeah, but
what I do have a problem with,
full of so much crap like the last
exactly. And in this stimulus bill, they got stuff like $100 million for the arts and humanities. What the hell does that have to do with stimulus? Making sure that employers can't get punished for hiring illegal immigrants. What?
They tried They tried all this the first stimulus.
Stimulus, not just for families of illegal immigrants, but to the illegal immigrant themselves if they've been filing taxes. So you sneak in the country and you get it. That's why this thing's dead on arrival. And Nancy Pelosi knows it. It's just she was just trying to make a political statement. There are some good parts to the bill, and maybe they'll work on in committee and get something passed, but it's just not going to happen. Not going to happen anytime soon. Oh, this one's for Dave Adams, my golf buddy, and Tyler, if you're watching, and anybody that likes golf. I knew I didn't like this guy. I've never liked this guy. He always seems smug to me, but Rory McIlroy says he would not golf with Trump again out of choice.
Oh, are you throwing fits now?
You see, but here's the problem with the country, man. There used to be a decorum, right? Like, Eazy-E went and met with President Reagan. Okay? I think it was Reagan, maybe it was Bush, but he still went to the White House. There was a thing that, like, it was just an honor to go to the White House, to meet the president, to be able to golf with the president, regardless of your politics. I would have golfed any day with Bill Clinton. I would have told him, hey, man, you're screwed up. Hey, man, what about this and that? I would have taken the opportunity to talk to him. But if you think I was going to sit there and say, well, nope, I don't like him because he's, what a crazy thing. Samantha says Whitley has a flag. Yeah.
It's kind of douchey.
It's very douchey, man. I mean, come on. Don't
you have a job? Like, your job is to play golf, right? Like, nobody cares about your political opinion ever. Just like people in Hollywood. We don't care about your political opinion.
He's European.
Who cares?
He's European.
Who cares?
But
play golf. Get paid to play golf.
Shut up. Yeah. Tiger's good, but most of the golf world is pretty conservative, so I think it's a pretty stupid move. But that's how it's gone to. Remember when Ellen DeGeneres happened to shake hands on, the Super Bowl or something with George W. Bush?
Yeah,
and she got beat up
for it.
Yeah, come on, man. I mean, you're a celebrity. Got it. Yes.
And this is supposed to be the party of tolerance, though.
Oh, no. That's only tolerant if you agree with what they have to say. That's the only tolerance they have. No, there's no real tolerance. Hey, did you see Joe Biden? Joe Biden, I feel bad, man. I don't want to make fun of him, but he did put himself out there. His handlers put him out there, but he has a video here, and it says, quote, "This is not a moment for excuses or deflection or blame game. We're in the middle of a pandemic that has cost us more than 85,000 jobs and lives of millions of people. The problem is that worldwide coronavirus, even with the inflated numbers, is only taking about 300,000 people, not millions of people. And we've lost way more than 85,000 jobs. I'm thinking he might have got it mixed up. Man, you're the president of the United States. What if you're trying to type in your football code for the nuclear weapons and you mixed it up? Here, let's just watch. I'll let the viewers decide. I'm somewhat fair. Come here.
This is not a moment for excuses or deflections or blame game. We're in the middle of a pandemic that had cost us more than 85,000 jobs as of today. Lives of millions of people, millions of jobs. And we're in a position where, we just got new unemployment insurance this morning, numbers, 36.5 million claims since this crisis began.
That guy's so confused, man. I mean, I almost feel bad, man. Why are you guys putting him? And then Trump, I love Trump. Trump is funny. His people are funny. But you know those screens like when you, it used to just say, you got to a bad screen, like error 404 or something like that. But now they put stuff like, oh, man, it seems like you got lost. Or, hey, this is our fault, not yours. Here, click here to go to the homepage. Well, the Trump-Pence re-election campaign put this lost screen. It appears you are lost. You are as lost as me, and it has a picture of Joe Biden, like, and then it says return to homepage. I think it's funny. People say, "Oh, well, why are you making fun of his mental faculties?" That's not right. Well, because he's running to be the president of the United States. No, here's the deal, Kathleen. Here's the deal. You know the thing. Oh, yeah, he is. You know the thing. That's his new thing. But he used to say, "Here's the deal," when he had actually a mind. I mean, this guy was always a bloviator. Remember, we showed on here a week ago, where he had claimed to have 3 degrees, up on a full scholarship, top half of his class, and come to find out none of it was true. In fact, the Trump campaign made a commercial about it.
Maybe that's what he was thinking he had.
Joe's just, I mean, come on, people. I'm glad. I'm glad that they're keeping Joe. And now they're stuck, too. Because if they try to take out Joe and say put in Cuomo, then the Bernie bros are going to be pissed. And they're already not very happy with having Joe Biden. But the Bernie bros are going to sit on their hands and they are not going to vote whatsoever. They're going to stay home, and then that's going to cause them elections. But if they keep Joe, he's going to lose. So either way, they're screwed. I don't know what. If I own the Democrat Party, and you know that the Democrat Party is the least Democratic party. They have super delegates that could take out their nominee and put in whatever nominee they choose, no matter who voted for whom.
Unless they get their wish of the mail-in ballots, and then all of a sudden Joe's got 90% of the vote.
90% of the dead vote, yes. I don't know, Amber. Amber says, what were they thinking? I don't know. I don't know. I thought Clinton was a bad candidate. I knew she was going to have a hard time even beating Trump. And there were times I was like, oh, she might pull it out. But no, this guy is way worse than she is. Not quite as corrupt, even though he's just a pervert. But, as soon as they start running those ads where he's touching and feeling on those little girl breasts and all that stuff, that's going to turn. In fact, let me tell you too, women vote, since the polls are showing that he's handily winning Trump with the women vote. Of course, these polls are all inaccurate now. But if you would pull the ballot, if you wouldn't pull the ballot for Trump, then you should be sitting home. Because you definitely shouldn't be pulling the ballot for a child molester. I mean, the maternal instinct is all about protecting children. That's why most teachers are female. They love children. Guys, we don't really like children. Joe loves children too, but in the whole wrong way. Okay? All right. Here's how they're pumping the numbers up, all you conspiracy theories. Nathan, you look like I share every time you flip and push your headphone cord out of the way. I just can't today. Sorry, man. It gets in my way. I'll just leave it there. Share. That's messed up, Samantha.
I have to share something.
Good point.
I got in the mail today.
Oh, hey. Shout out to Hood Samaritan. That's Kareem's company. Set her that as a promo. She is a hashtag essential employee.
It's really cute and it's breathable. I like it.
Samantha says Bluetooth headphones. The problem with Bluetooth headphones is that it has a mic on it, so sometimes it will interfere with my actual mic, and so that's the bad thing. Plus, sometimes there's a slight delay, and there's enough delay with guests being on Zoom. So there are reasons for everything. That's why also my mouse has to be wired, because it's too much of a split delay. Believe me, tried everything. Whitley's tired of paying for my hobby here. So for all you conspiracy theorists out there, guess what? It is true, they are pumping up COVID deaths. In Colorado, another Democrat state, by the way, Colorado health officials claimed a drunk man who died with a 0.55 blood alcohol content. Now remember, it's 0.08 is legally drunk. Okay? Many times when you have a 0.3, they consider you in death territory. This guy had a 0.55, drank himself to death, and the Colorado Department of Health and Environment categorized his death as being due to COVID-19 and updated its daily official tally. All right.
Oh, dear.
So they say, well, you know what? Mistakes happen, right? Well, according to CBS 4, which is in Denver, last month, the CBS 4 investigation revealed that the state health department reclassified 3 deaths at a Centennial nursing home as COVID-19, despite the fact that the attending physicians ruled all 3 were not related to COVID-19. In each case, the residents had tested positive for COVID-19, but in each case, on-scene doctors ruled that the deaths were not related to the virus. Old age, heart attack, but apparently everything is COVID-19. That's why people don't trust. That's why people do not trust the media. That's why people don't trust Democrats in office. That's why people don't trust politicians, period. Because if you can make more money off calling it a COVID death, especially a broke nursing home, which is usually getting paid for by very cheap Medicare and Medicaid, guess what they're going to classify it as? COVID-19. Don't believe the hype. I think when this all is said and done, this is going to go down as one of the biggest farces and the most expensive farce by far, because we have lost about 30 million jobs. Samantha says she shared that today. Unbelievable. Yes, crazy. Crazy stupid.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think the actual virus is a farce. Like, I think we do have a virus happening right now, but to sit there and inflate numbers is quite silly, actually. Why would you why?
Because, well, the hospitals do it for more money.
Justify money. Yeah, exactly. Is it a way to justify money? Is it like...
No, because if you look in the red states, all the numbers are low because they're accurate. In fact, Florida, everybody said when Florida and Georgia opened up that there was going to be this huge spike. That's actually gone down. They're actually heroes down there because their numbers are accurate. Because this is not as bad as it says. But blue states, what are they trying to do? They're trying to prevent a re-election of a certain Donald J. Trump. So they're going to make everything COVID-19 and say, Orange Man bad. Oh, my God, look how bad we're doing. When really, I'm going to start doing what I was doing. I'm going to start picking out the top 10 states of deaths per million. From now on, I'm just going to keep blasting them out. I know I only get 3,000 or 4,000 viewers. In faith, I get 1 million. But, come election time, I'm just going to keep blasting out. It is all about control. It's the biggest load of shit ever perpetrated on the American people, Kathleen says. Maybe not the virus itself, but the way local governments are handling it. The virus itself is deadly. It is more deadly than the flu, but it is not enough to shut down entire countries, the entire world. It just wasn't. The people that are dying of this, and yes, they're going to bring out every little kid that gets the Kawasaki. Guess what? People get foot and mouth disease from influenza and from all other things. We don't know. I mean, we are a country of 330 million people. 330. We are a world of 7.2 billion people, and we've had 300,000 deaths worldwide out of 7.2 billion. If that was a study in science, that would be called statistically insignificant. Not that lives don't matter. Every life matters, but people die. This is not the Spanish flu. This is not all that. Amber says, my governor got a big head. Yeah, she looks like...
Your governor's an idiot.
Bruce Jenner. All right, here's 3 people who would vote for Biden, by the way. It's a disgusting story. I shouldn't even make light of it. A trio of women in Ohio took kids to a house and let pedophiles rape them for cash. 3 women, as seen here, are accused of supplying a house full of evil pedos with children as young as 3 to rape in exchange for cash. Megan Richmond, here's what's crazy, is they're all in their 30s. 32, Tasha Stringer, 37, and Catherine McMullen, 36, allegedly took their children, aged between 3 and 13, to a house in Williamsburg, Ohio, where the monster sexually assaulted them and recorded the 6 attacks. The FBI got them. Thank God. They're out of there. The kids are going to be taken up. Guess what? That's disgusting, and I don't believe in the death penalty because I'm a true pro-life person. And I know that's weird being a conservative, but man, if I did, those are the ones that deserve it right there. Them sick bastards.
Yeah, that's so
Them
evil
kids are
and
forever
gross.
destroyed. Forever destroyed all over a drug problem. And then that little bitch on the right's wearing a shirt that says blessed. You ain't very blessed now. You're going to prison for a long, long time. Samantha says they're setting up that second wave for election time. Yeah, they're going to set it up and blow it out of proportion for election time. A, for votes, and B, so that we can get mail-in votes. It's disgusting.
Well, and they're going to say, oh, the COVID could have been already been eradicated by now had we kept everything on lockdown. And then they're going to say, because now we have a flu pandemic, like the flu every year and the COVID going on at the same time.
Didn't even think about that. Smart thinking. Yeah, because now they're going to be like, oh, well, we could have handled just the COVID second wave, but now we're in flu season 2. Everybody must vote by mail.
So it's going to hit all together, and then they're going to blame states that, decided to come out of lockdown.
Well, then they're going to sit there and say, well, Trump even admitted he doesn't want it because Republicans would never win. What Trump should have really said is Republicans never win because voter fraud is rampant. And it might not have been proven yet because people don't have time to prove it. People don't go in there and they don't have access to voter files to prove it, the regular investigative journalists. Not that journalists would have ever done their job any damn way. I guarantee you, if dead people started voting Republican all the time, investigative journalists would find ways to get those voter rolls and to prove that there's a rampant fraud. Okay? Yeah, JD, I don't believe in the death penalty because I donate to what's called the Innocence Project, and there are too many people. If I could save one person who's innocent off death row, then life in prison is fine with me. I honestly don't care. Laura, devil's advocate, I work detox, and 50.55 was common in alcoholics, and they were talking and walking. Did they have other symptoms and increased ETOH cause an exacerbation of COVID symptoms?
No, Laura, it was COVID, duh.
It was COVID.
It wasn't alcohol.
They got caught, okay? Don't try to make excuses. 0.55, yes, it's common. No, it's not common. You just happen to see the live ones that actually got in. Most of them died before you see them. It has been proven. Voter fraud is a real thing. If you don't believe me, look up the Southfield canvassers and stuff. The first African American female clerk of elections in Southfield, Michigan, is on trial right now because of 138 voter fraud charges. So if you don't believe me, it's real. It is. I mean, come on, people. You know it, I know it. And why would the Democrats, if it's not a problem and nobody's going to get disenfranchised, why would the Democrats be against any sort of voter ID? I'm not saying they even have to have the real ID. Just saying who I am. Hey, this is me. I'm voting once. Boom, good to go. That way you don't vote for other people. Mail-in ballots is going to be rife with it. All I can imagine is the young liberal snowflake living in Granny's basement intercepting her mail because she's a Bernie supporter and can't stand Trump, and so she's gonna vote for Grandma. I don't know. Okay, that's gonna happen. Chronic alcoholics have really high levels.
Okay, so JD said, I think the real important thing to discuss is the Space Force.
And the super duper missile. It didn't make my slides, but apparently Trump is warning China and Russia that we are developing a super duper missile. Okay?
Super duper.
This is when Trump needs to stop.
A super duper huge.
It's going to be the hugest one ever. Super duper. Listen, I love you, Trump, but please, man, everything doesn't have to, it could just be, hey, we're building a badass bomb. It doesn't have to be super duper big league or whatever, okay? If we can congregate at the damn Walmart, we should be able to stand 6 feet apart to vote. Well said. Exactly. I've seen memes after memes. People have been violating this social distancing anyways. You know what? If you have a proven medical condition signed by a physician, then I'm okay with it. Vote by mail. Okay? And I'm not talking about, oh, I got bunions. I'm talking about a proven medical condition.
Yeah, bunions.
You know what I'm saying? All my hemorrhoids are acting up. Look it. If your hemorrhoids are acting up, but you still got to Walmart yesterday, and you can, let's supply those little, Walmart, everybody miraculously is healed once the battery operated buggies. You know what I'm talking about? The electric scooters. They die in the middle of the aisle, and all of a sudden it's a miracle. She can get up and walk. Okay? But let's supply those at the entrance of the polling stations. If they need to get in their little buggy to go vote, that's fine. You know?
Why do you call it a buggy? You used to say shopping cart, and now you've been around Southern people too much.
I am. I know. You guys are infecting me, okay? Just like it's not pop anymore, it's soda. I used to say pop. Shout out to all my Michigan peeps. All right. This is scary as crap, man. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a home intruder. This girl is sleeping on a couch. Let me show it to you. I got the video here. There is no sound. But he's sitting there, and the home video caught it. Look at him. Look at him creep over this 15 or 14-year-old girl sleeping. All right? If you're a liberal and you don't believe in guns, here's what you get, buddy. Not saying that she would have, not saying she would have had a gun on her, but apparently at the end, look how long this guy is creeping and just staring at her. I'm going to fast forward for time. He finally gets up. Now, this is 1 minute into it. He's been standing there this whole time.
That's so weird.
1 minute, 5 seconds.
Ugh, I guess the EBGB's just, and get somebody just staring at me.
Apparently. Yeah, isn't that weird, man?
Yeah, it's creepy. Like, who does that?
Apparently, she wakes up and yells for her mom, and the guy gets scared. Didn't steal anything, so he was there for something. Now, the good news, they did catch the creep. Somebody had tipped him off. Arrest made in creepy home video that showed intruder lurking over sleeping girl. A disturbing security video shows a hooded home intruder standing over a 15-year-old girl while she sleeps on a sofa in Wichita, Kansas. Her name was Anaya Robinson. Footage shows moments before she woke up to see the man standing above her. Miss Robinson screamed to her mother, but the man fled without stealing anything. Acting on a tip, Wichita police announced the arrest of a 14-year-old boy Thursday who allegedly entered a home and was caught on camera standing directly over a sleeping girl. The teen, whose name was not released, faces aggravated burglary and theft charges. A lot of states do that where they don't release a kid's name because they're a teen. Here's my thing, right? If you commit a felony...
That was a teenager?
Yeah, he's 14. It's a tall teenager, man.
Yeah, he looked like a grown man.
Right.
Did she know him?
They didn't say. The girl said once she opened her eyes, she felt like she was in a scene from a movie, and she screamed. It says it's a stranger, so I'm assuming that they didn't know each other. Davison said the teen entered the home through an unlocked door and stole a tool. Surveillance video showed him roaming the house for several minutes. Realized she was sleeping, sat there and stared at her, man. That's just creepy.
I literally would scream at the top of my lungs and grab my gun so fast. That is just the creepiest thing ever.
This would be, if you're watching and you're trying to come over to Harper's Ferry to do our home, it's probably the worst home you could pick. The second, or maybe the worst homes you could pick would be my home, the Alleman homes, and JD Neal's home, because we are some gun-toting fools, okay? But what's crazy about it is, why didn't he you would think he'd oh shit, he saw somebody and he'd creep out real quick before he got caught. But he sat there and stared for over a minute, man. That's how that dude was contemplating something.
He said he was practicing for something bigger.
He was.
Yeah, that was weird.
But that's how it all starts. First time is harder than the other times, and I'm willing to bet it's not the first time that he went in there and did that. And the tool that he was probably stealing might have been just a, I don't know, raper or something, man. But what a horrible, horrible thing. So if you live in Wichita, lock your doors, even if you're home. All right. If you're in my area, God forbid you break into my home. Woo! Amber says her home too, and it probably wouldn't be the smartest
I
bet.
got guns everywhere.
Yeah, we are definitely we are the NRA here. So with all these lockdowns, thanks to these Democrats, there's a lot of people thinking about leaving. In fact, come to find out, New York City, because they have had the hardest lockdowns, guess what all the rich people did? Elites fleeing Manhattan's priciest neighborhoods after coronavirus hammered city. Cell phone data show they ain't why. It's because they don't want to be locked down in some bungalow. You know, you've been in New York, even the rich, they live in, it has a lot of square feet, but everybody lives on top of each other, right? Especially in Manhattan. But thousands of Manhattan's richest residents fled the hard-hit city. Bombshell smartphone figures show that there was a mass exodus from New York City's priciest neighborhoods while the COVID-19 crisis pummeled the Big Apple over the past 2 months. And here's the thing. You look here, the bottom 80%, nearly 100% of them stayed. Look at the top 1%.
They're up in freaking the Hamptons right now.
That's what they're saying, the Hamptons at, but a lot of them went to Florida. Rich people, if you flee to a conservative state, please don't vote the way you voted before. Please, just don't. Don't give the Democrat candidates, because there's a reason why you're fleeing your nanny state government, your high taxes, and everything else. Joe Rogan, who's a Bernie bro, but I think he secretly likes Trump. He is thinking about leaving. Joe Rogan has a podcast that any podcaster would envy because he has millions and millions of viewers. But Joe Rogan says excessive coronavirus restrictions may force him to move to Texas. And Elon Musk announced also that he is thinking about, and Governor Abbott confirms talks with Elon Musk about moving Tesla to Texas. He says Texas is a perfect fit for Tesla, and Elon Musk could save billions in taxes if Tesla moves its headquarters to Nevada or Texas. Why would you stay in such a high-tax, high-regulated area like California and New York if you're rich? And a lot of them don't. I mean, even the president, he moved his residency from New York City to Texas or to Florida.
Okay, but we know he's not voting Democrat.
Well, Trump isn't, but like what Kathleen said, yeah, you end up like being like Northern Virginia or even North Carolina. North Carolina used to be like South Carolina. It was a reliably red state. Now it's purple to blue. Why? Because all these people from the north moved down there because, cost of living is cheaper and there's great jobs. Well, duh, why do you think that there's great jobs and cost of living is lower? Probably because we don't have liberals. That's why there's shirts that pop up everywhere. Don't California my Texas. Don't California my Colorado. Colorado used to be a reliable red state. It was a conservative state. But then all the bunheads moved to Colorado and started voting liberal. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. Don't move. Don't move to West Virginia.
Don't move here. Bring your tax money, bring your jobs, but just realize why we are the land of the free. Because we don't vote in any state government. Think about it, man. Like when you were watching Walking Dead, right? Or, well, what's the zombie apocalypse movie with Woody Harrelson?
Oh, Zombieland.
Zombieland, right?
The best.
Anytime, man, you saw like and you're like, oh my God, that's the worst people to be running with if you're escaping zombies. But then you see the rough cowboy or something, you're like, yeah, that's who I'd be hanging out with, right?
Yeah.
That's the same here, man. We're not scared of coronavirus. Give it to us. Let us pass it. If we die, we all believe in Jesus. We're going to heaven anyways. You know what I'm saying? We are the land of the free. I have a friend that lives up in Pennsylvania. She's a conservative, and she's like, oh, my God, Pittsburgh is locking down all through the summer. There goes my summer. I said, just south of you is a state called West Virginia. Get in your car and drive for a day and get a hotel.
And their taxes are cheaper.
But even if they don't move here, man, all they're going to do, the people, if New York City stays locked down, they're going to you can't block them all in. They're just going to drive and do it. I mean, it's just so stupid. These governors need to all get on one record, one message, one policy.
Record.
All right, here's some good news. This is our last story of the day, but here's good news. Cure breakthrough pharma out of San Diego. I thought, okay, yeah, this is one of those China ones. Pharma firm discovers antibody that blocks 100% of coronavirus infections and flushes out bug in 4 days. A biotech company Claims to have found an antibody that can make a person immune to COVID-19 and cure the virus in days. Sorrento Therapeutics CEO Henry G. announced the breakthrough on Friday, revealing the company is working day and night to complete the steps necessary. It is in preclinical trials, but apparently the antibody literally grabs the virus, kind of hugs it, and prevents it from getting into cells so it can't replicate. And if you can stop that, then the body flushes out in 4 days. Boom. Good to go, man. That's good news, right?
No, I'm not putting anything in me.
Well, I don't think you should. I think that they should wait till you're sick enough. If your body can fight it off on its own, then you get immunity, right? But people,
did you see that meme? And it's like, I just got my COVID-19 shot.
Yeah, and he has like these bumps all over his head.
Feeling great.
Feeling great, yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. I'm not doing it. Not until it's been like a year or so.
I'll tell you what. Desperation calls for desperate measures. I would do it if I'm like
not desperate.
If I had COPD and I still smoke cigarettes, or if I was, I destroyed my liver, or hell, I'm just obese and fat. Those are the ones that really get you. Being obese and fat, which I'm kind of fat, and I'm just dying. Of course, I'm going to try any drug that they have.
You're thick. You're not fat.
I'm thick. I'm not fat. But I'll try whatever they give me. But if I'm young and healthy, like I think I am, I even wore my hat backwards today. I'm gonna try to beat that bug on its own. That's what we've been doing with all of our kids too, haven't we? I mean, they've been on antibiotics like once or twice.
I think they've been on antibiotics once or twice their whole life, and they're like 13 years old now.
And they have great immunity, man. And that's what you got to do too, man. There's no need to ingest drugs. Now, for all you anti-vaxxers out there, I am. JD said corporate dad bod, bro. I might have some retard strength in my short little body. I might actually take you, buddy. You don't think so? I mean, he's only about 6'3", 300 pounds, pure muscle. His biceps are bigger than my forehead. But
I would videotape.
You would. You'd probably be taking me to the doctor for afterwards. Hey, I forgot where I was going with any of this stuff. But hey, thanks for joining us for a special edition of Friday Night Nightcaps and Nate. Hopefully you were so bored that you watched. Make sure that you like, share.
Having me. I finally got to be on sometimes.
I know. I love it when Whitley gets to come on. She hardly ever gets to because she's usually doing stuff in the background. But it was a lot of fun. Thanks, Whitley, for joining us. Thank you to all my friends and fans who have been making this show a reality. We will be back Monday night at 9 p.m. And we have Jasper, and I think it's just Jasper and me. Not sure. But anyways, I will see you guys Monday night. I am out of here.
This has been Nightcaps with Nate. Please join Nate for a nightcap every weeknight at 9 Eastern here on Facebook Live.
Peace.